All right. Yeah, it's about that time. Close enough. We will go ahead and get started. So welcome. Hope you guys had good morning. Let's go ahead and get started on our in the seats. That's what I'm trying to say. Just go ahead and close down those eyes. We're just going to take a moment, kind of find a little calm through kind of the craziness that's going on right now. So just roll those shoulders a few times. You roll them back a few times. Forward a few times. And then just draw them down and back so the shoulders soften, sitting up nice and tall. Those eyes closed down. Just breathing in and out through the nose. Take a really big breath in through the nose. And open the mouth side out. And then we'll reach those arms out to the side. Let those palms reach it up nice and tall. Bring those palms together. Try and bring those arms back a little bit more. And then bring those hands down to heart center and then just go right back into that circle. So reach the arms out and up. We bring those palms back a little bit more. Those hands can come to heart center. Let's go one more time. Reach those arms out, up, reach it back a little more. And then let's find a twist over to that right side. So sitting really tall on that inhale. Exhale, come a little bit more into the twist. Let's come to center. Go right. Ooh. Right to the other side. And then bring it back to center. Reach those arms up. Interlace those fingers. Point those palms up. A little stretch through those wrists, those fingers. Yeah, just pressing those palms up towards the ceiling. And let's find just a little bend over to that right side. Let's bring it back up and go to the other side. Bring it back up. Let's interlace those fingers behind the back now. So again, if you need to, just lower, I don't know if you can see, but your fingertips are pointing back, thumbs are pointing forward, just lifting the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Or you can interlace those fingers and then bring those hands away from those hips a little bit more. Again, inhale, let's release those arms up overhead. Point those palms up, pause it here. Try and bring those arms back a little bit more as we straighten out through those elbows. And then find that side bend over to the right side. Back to center, over to the left side. Bring it back to center, and then let's interlace those fingers behind the back. A lot of shoulder stretches this afternoon. And then we'll release. Ooh, last time. That didn't work. Let's go this way, bring those palms up, and then again, side bend over to the right. Back up to the left. Bring it back up. Let's interlace those fingers, open up through that chest. Let's add in those neck stretches. So just bringing those hands over to that right hip, drop that right ear down towards that right shoulder. And just really small movements with that head. So maybe even looking down towards that right knee. Pause for a few moments, and then you can gaze back up. And we'll still keep that ear down towards that shoulder the whole time. Just those really slow, controlled movements. Stretching out that left side of the neck. Good. Now, bring that head back up. Let's go to the other side. Bring the hands over to the left side, and then drop that left ear towards that left shoulder. And if you want to add in those movements. Lift that head back up. Go ahead and release those hands down to your mat. Let's come tabletop position. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath those hips, back is nice and flat. On that inhale, let's drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. And exhale, we'll round the spine, press the shoulder blades away, draw that belly up and in. And inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, gaze up. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Last time, inhale, lift. Exhale, round. And now bring it back to that neutral spine. Let's walk those hands forward. So keep the hips high, really active, pressing into those palms, and we'll just soften that head down towards the mat. We want to keep those elbows lifted, so we're really gripping through those fingertips, really active through the hands, through the shoulders. Think of that idea of if there was an imaginary block between those forearms, we're squeezing that block with those forearms. Let's slide forward onto those forearms, stepping those feet back into that plank. Let's just hold it here for a couple breaths. Nice and strong through the core, through the legs. Keep gripping those fingertips into the mat. Let's lower those hips down, point those toes, draw those elbows back, lift up through the top of the head. And relax it down. So go ahead and press back up onto hands and knees. Okay, we're gonna keep those toes curled under. So we're gonna be sitting back on the toes. Feet are about hip distance apart or maybe a little bit narrower. Ankles are pointing straight up. So I don't know if you can see my feet, but we don't want those feet bowing out to the sides. We want them nice and, the outsides of the feet are nice and parallel to each other. Now from here, we're just gonna send those hips back, putting a little bit of weight on those heels, stretching out through really that big toe, but all of the toes, the bottom of the feet. Maybe you can bring a little bit more weight to those heels as you walk the hands back. Maybe you come just that full seat where your shoulders are stacked over those hips. Finding that breath. Go ahead. Bring those hands back down towards the mat. Go and step it back to the plank. And then bring those hips up to a downward facing dog. So just take a moment, pedal those feet out, sway those hips. Now press into those palms. We're gonna press that belly back towards those thighs. Press that tailbone up towards the ceiling, pressing those heels down towards the mat. Now from here, we're just gonna bend into those knees. So hover those knees right above the ground. So again, another toe stretch. And then we'll press those hips back up, straightening those legs, flexing the quads. Press the heels down towards the mat. Press the hips high. And again, we'll lower it down. So knees are just hovering. And then we'll press it back up into, back to that down dog. One more time, hover those knees. And press it back up. Now we'll walk those feet to the hands, into that forward fold. Find that flat back on the inhale so the hands can come to the shins. Chest is lifting, tailbone is lifting. Our low back is really, really flat. And then we'll slide those hands down as we fold. Just let the head and the arms hang really heavy. And then we'll bend into those knees. Flatten out that back. Let's come all the way up to standing, reaching those arms up again. So interlace those fingers, point those palms up towards the ceiling, and then we'll bend it again over to that right side. Inhale it back up. Exhale it over to that left side. And inhale, reach it back up. Release the hands as we fold. Find that flat back. And then plant those hands down. Let's go ahead and step it back. Let's hold a plank. Let's drop those heels over to that right side. Left arm reaches up. So if you need to, just go ahead and lower that left shin down towards the mat. Little modification. And otherwise, holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Front plank. Pause. Other side, drop the heels to the right. Left arm reaches up. Again, if you need to, lower that right shin down towards the mat. Let's hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower that hand down. Send those hips up, downward facing dog. And then come to the toes. Stepping those feet, top of the mat. Slide the hands to the shins, half lift. And slide those hands down as we fold. And inhale, rise to standing. Reach it up tall. Interlace those fingers, palms up. Side stretch it to the right. Inhale it back up. Over to the left. Inhale, reach it up. Release those hands down as we fold. So again, find that flat back. Plant those hands. Step those feet back to our plank. Drop the heels to the right or to the left. Right arm reaches up, side plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other side. And for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to our front plank. And then hips up, downward facing dog. And now let's step those feet up to the top of the mat. Go ahead and rise up to standing. We're going to take a big step open with that right foot. Keep those feet parallel to each other. And then we'll fold. So slight bend in those knees. And then exhale, walk those hands back a little further. Just keep that nice flat back as we pull that chest between those legs. And we can turn those toes out just a few degrees. Let's side lunge it over to, it'll be your right side, so I'll mirror you guys. Just drop those hips down as low as you can. Stretch through this left inner thigh. Then we'll bring it over to the other side. Good, bring it back to center. Turn those toes in, heels out as we fold. Good, now toes out. Again, let's go over to that right side again. Back to center. Over to the left side. Bring it back to center. Turn those toes and heels out as we fold. Good, now bend those knees maybe a little bit more. We want those hands right underneath the shoulders. We're going to twist, reaching that left arm up. So again, try not to let those hips sway over to that left side as we lift the left arm up. I think pull those hips kind of back towards the right to bring them back towards the midline. Lower it down. Let's go to the other side. And lower it down. Again, fold. Let's do one more time into those side lunges. Turn the toes out, lunge over to that right side. Center, over to that left side. Bring it back to center. Go ahead and rise on up. Go ahead and step those feet up to the top of the mat. Let's do a quad stretch here. So Weights on your left foot. We're gonna kick that right leg up, grab onto that foot, draw those knees together to start. Pull that rib cage down, pull that tailbone down. So you notice as soon as I do that, my quads are so tight that that knee jets forward, okay? I'm right there with you guys. Okay, keeping the abs tight, press that foot. Ooh, it's a big one today. Press that foot back into those hands, trying to get those knees even with each other without arching through that low back. Let's go ahead and release it. Move to the other side. So weight's gonna be on that right foot. Kick that left leg up. Draw those knees together. Pressing that foot back. Keeping the core tight, tailbone's pulling down. If you can't get that D, if it's so tight, your knees are just staying side by side, maybe that's all the farther you go. But as long as you're feeling that nice stretch in the quads, so right here, not any pulling in the knee, then you're doing just fine. Let's go ahead and release that foot down. Okay, go ahead and step it back to a downward facing dog. We're gonna go into a pigeon. So bringing that right knee towards that right wrist, foot comes across, sliding that left leg back, then lower down onto those forearms. Just give yourself a chance to kind of relax into it. So, this could be kind of a big stretch for a lot of you all. I know it's a big one for me, but try and just breathe, soften into this one, release that tension that you might be holding in those hips. Let's come back onto those hands. Just switching sides. I'm gonna bring that left knee to that left wrist. Foot comes across. Slide that right leg back. And lower onto those forearms. Again, just resting that head down. Maybe noticing if this side feels any different. Maybe it's a little bit tighter. Maybe you have a little bit more mobility in this side. Just noticing the imbalances, areas that you could work on. And then again, just letting yourself relax and breathe as best you can in this posture. Good. Go and come back onto those hands. Let's step it back into a down dog one last time. Just make any movement you need. And let's come forward to a plank. Lower down, we'll stretch through those hip flexors. So we'll lower, lift it on up to a cobra, or maybe you press up into an upward facing dog. So here, I'm relaxing my legs completely, just giving it a little sway from side to side. We'll stretch through the abs, through those hip flexors, holding my shoulders down away from my ears. And now soften it all the way down. Let's do that one more time. Press and lift up. So just lifting as high as your low back is allowing. This might be a little bit too aggressive for you, and that's okay. Good. Send those hips back to the knees together, a little bit closer together into that child's pose. You can just rest that head down. And now slide those elbows back so the elbows are touching the knees, and the forearms are touching. Okay, we're gonna bring that right hand behind the back. So I want the rotate, internally rotate that right, or the right hand. So the back of the hand is gonna be on the hips. Big breath in, exhale, twist, open up. A little mobility through that T-spine. That's the space between your shoulder blades, that portion of the spine. One more breath. Each exhale, try and twist a little more. And then we'll go ahead and release it to the other side. Go ahead and bring that back of the hand to those hips. Big breath in. Exhale, open up, twist. And release it down. Go ahead and roll on over into a seated position, just how we started. Let's go ahead and reach those arms up overhead. Let's finish off with a twist and then a little side stretch. So over to that right side twist, sit tall on that inhale. Exhale, look over the shoulder first and see if you can find a little bit more twist. Good, reach up nice and tall, come back to center, and then exhale. All that length of the spine, twist over to your left side. Bring it back to center. Reach those arms up. Side stretch over to the right side. Bring it back up to the left side. And bring it back up. And rest those hands on the knees. And let's just finish this off with a few breaths. Finding a little bit of calm. Let's focus on that rise and fall of the chest with each breath. Leave those eyes open. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. We have all levels yoga, 4:45 this evening. So I hope you all can make that. Otherwise, we have power yoga, a 25-minute power yoga class tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So hope to see you guys at either or both of those classes. But otherwise, have a good day. Have a good week.